Hey guys, welcome to my channel FunLearn with Anita. Today we're going to talk about what to expect in an interview. Many of you are recently getting graduated or going for internship, and when you're taking that first step into the corporate world, the curiosity is there, what to expect in an interview, what they're gonna ask, that little bit anxiety is there, how to reply to those questions. So we're going to cover like an overview about that, like what questions are that like for sure asked in all the interviews. So make sure you have a pen, paper, and write all the points which I'm going to cover in this video. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. The first step: be well aware, do good research about the company you're going for. Make sure you know what is company known in the market for, who are its competitors, who are its clients, the different product it deals with, and research about those products. That's the main thing, because the company is dealing with like certain products, financial products, or whatever the consultancy or whatever the firm you're going for. Make sure you understand what they do. Make sure you well aware at least the basis of what exactly the company are dealing for. For example, you're going for a bank, go understand what derivatives is, go understand what stocks and bonds is. Be have that, have that information, have the basis of it, because for sure the company would be very curious to know that do you know that what you're going to deal with in the company. Are you aware what you are expected to deal with in the company? And when I say about make sure you have done well research about the company, I also mean currently go, like read all the newspaper. What is the latest trend that's happening in the company? Did the company is in headlines, why it is in headlines? And try to make a link of it, like why you're applying for the job. So your necessity of going for the job, or the reason you are in that field, and try to link it with the company's existence, try to link it with the company's products, and make a purpose of it, like this is the reason you are going for this particular company and not somewhere else. The next question, the second question is, somewhere in the interview you would be asked to talk about your strengths, to talk about your skills, and what company is trying to know through your strength and skill is like how are you beneficial to the company, how your strengths and skill can be beneficial to the whole team you're working with, to the whole company you're going to work with, how you're going to fit in the company's culture. Now moving to the third question. Now of course, when we speak about strengths, somewhere in the interview you can also be asked about your weaknesses. And when a person is, or when an interviewer is asking about your weakness, they basically want to know that are you aware about the areas you need to work on, or are you aware about the areas that need progress, that need development? And if you are aware, first of all, okay, are you aware? And if you are aware, do you know how to improve those areas, or what steps you have taken to to improvise on those weaknesses? So for example, someone says like I'm shy or something like that, so I have gone for Toastmasters, or I have participated in this, that have helped me to come out of my shyness. So something like that. Are you aware about your weakness and what you have done to overcome the same? Another very common question that can be asked in an interview is your accomplishments, your professional achievements. And this is, this particular question, you have to be very careful. And the reason I'm saying you have to be very careful is because one has to sell himself or herself. And there is like a stage provided, tell about all the achievements you did, and you have to be very selective with the words. You have to be very selective about the achievements. You cannot tell it, oh I got a bronze medal or golden medal in cricket or something. This is not like an achievement. What an interview is trying to see that, okay, if this is your previous job, this is because of these achievements, my manager was proud of me, or the management has awarded me because of this, because I took a leadership role. Or if this is your first job, then talk about how in college, or how in your personal working environment you have taken a leadership role, or you have come out of a difficult scenario, how you have contributed to make things easier, and you were awarded for the same. So whenever you are asked about a professional achievement or personal achievement, talk about your contribution and how you were awarded for the same. Next question. Tell me about a time you were failed. You failed at something or you made a mistake. Normally when an interviewer asks such type of questions or something related to this, it is very easy for person who is interviewing to get uncomfortable, to get feel vulnerable and get confused, and they wouldn't know how to respond to it. My personal advice would be honest. Tell, okay, mistakes happens with mistake happens with everyone. You're a human, you're bound to make mistakes. So the way to handle this question is basically tell the interviewer, okay, in past a scenario happened, this happened, but this is what I learned from the mistake. This is what I improvised on it, and I took a next step, and I'm making sure that the same mistake I won't repeat. So be very careful, when you're answering this question. The interviewer wants to know how you learned from your past mistakes and what you have done to overcome the same. Now, moving towards the next question. Another question, very common question, or similar questions can be asked like, tell me about a time when you had a conflict with someone, be your boss or with your co-workers or even in university, or when you had to persuade someone, something similar to this. If you are asked, the first thing to remember is you cannot say, oh, I never had. Like, come on, conflicts happen because of difference of opinion. Conflict doesn't mean, cat fights and stuff. Conflict doesn't have to be that. It means you have your own opinion that might be different from the other person's opinion. So that's like a basis of it. Now let's talk about how to answer this question. Now, first thing first, talk about the scenario. Explain the scenario on because of which the conflict happened. Once you have said, okay, there was this scenario and we had differences of opinion, or I had to persuade him. Now you need to see that, okay, when conflict happened, did your opinion mattered or did other person's opinion mattered? And then you have to also see the seniority role. Like, for example, you had conflict with your boss, right? So you cannot you cannot say that, oh, he had to listen to me, or I was like, I cannot do it. You cannot answer like that. So the way to deal with this, like, okay, suppose for example you and your boss had a conflict, and then you understood his perspective. You also knew that, okay, this was your work, but you also understood his perspective, and you try to find a common ground. You try to work around the situation. You did not mess it up. Instead, you try to find a common ground. The similar way, if you have to persuade someone, you would provide him with facts and figures, and that's how you persuaded someone, or that's how you got the upper hand. That's basically you're supposed to respond, and not like in aggressive way that I was like, I just gave up, I just left the job or whatever. That's not a way to respond. Just try to say in a way that you found a common ground, because what an interviewer is trying to find, that like that was not the only job, but that's not the only situation where you had faced a conflict. In the person's company who you're joining, whatever firm you're joining, you will have lot of people, lot of people are working. Everyone have their own opinions. They're from different backgrounds, they're from different ethnicities. If something happens, how you will try to dissolve the situation, or how you will try to work around it, or how you will work with other employees. So be very careful when you're answering such questions. Like, try to see it as a bigger picture. So make sure you have a well prepared answer for this. Another most common question asked in an interview is, an interview, to make it interactive, they would always ask, do you have any questions for me? Normally, I have seen a lot of times candidates get shy, they get nervous, they don't know what to ask, they're scared to ask, they don't want to sound dumb. But reality is, you should definitely ask. You should make the interview a two-way traffic instead of just being asked. Like, you also should ask. And there are very like common questions you can ask. Like, first of all, when an interviewer is talking, they're going to talk about themselves, they're going to talk about how their day looks like, or they're going to talk about the company. Listen to it carefully. Listen every single detail, listen to it carefully. And when an interviewer asking, do you have any questions for me, that time try to make a question, or whatever you heard and you're not sure about something, ask that from interviewer. so the interview would also know that you're actually listening to what they have said, or you actually are curious about certain things related to company. And let's say some of the most common questions that a candidate normally asks to an interviewer is like, okay, so can you tell me about what does your day looks like within the company, or what do you expect from a candidate who you are like hiring for this role, or how come this position is available in the market. These are one of some of the very common questions that you can ask beside the questions that happens on the spot. Another expected question can be, what motivates you to get up in the morning, come for the job, or what inspires you. Even though every candidate who's getting hired or who's getting interviewed, they badly want to say a good package, a good lifestyle, you need to bit your tongue and you cannot say that. Because let's face it, no one wants to hire a money minded person. Obviously we all are money minded people, like that's just reality. But the way you need to frame this answer is talk about what team you like to work with. And okay, these are things when you do something nice, you like some words of appreciation or something like this. Make it more nice to hear, frame your answer like that, but avoid saying things like a good package, a promotion, stuff like that. Like, you get it what I'm saying. Now if you're switching up a job, right, they can ask you, why are you leaving your job, or what makes things change for you that you're leaving your job and you want to join with us, or things like that. Or if you just recently got graduated, or you're applying for the job, they would ask you, how are you available in the market. So basically for both the question, the main focus is, how are you available in the market, or why you think that this particular office, like not even the position, this particular office is the right goal for you, is the right focal point for you. Like, why should we hire you, right? That's the main thing. So the way this question needs to be answered is that, okay, if you're switching up a job, like, it would be easy for you if you're switching up an industry, because then you can compare the two industries and you can say that, like, I'm leaving this industry because I'm more interested to learn about this. That's a safe spot. That sounds good. That makes sense. If you're leaving a company but within the same industry, then you need to have a valid point, that your company is known for this, I was very interested in this, and something like this, and this is why I've decided to leave this. Or the particular position that was currently available in the market for that company, you were more interested in knowing this, and maybe that position was not available in your particular company, the one you're currently working on. So that's also a safe spot. Now if you are just getting hired, and that's your first step, and it's your first company, and they ask you, okay, how are you available in the market, because obviously they want to know that you have interviewed in other companies, why no one hired you, and why this company, like, why should we hire you. So what they basically want to know is that, what do you know about the company. Okay, so that's first. Be very well aware about the products, and how much interested are you in those products, in learning about those products. Or you see how the market is performing, you see how company is contributing in the progress of the market, and how you want to learn about all that. So make sure you frame your answer in this framework. Another question that can be asked is related to your work style. What is your work style? Basically an interviewer wants to know is that, how do you work day to day. Every person, every employee working in the company have their unique work style that make them different from each other. So how would you work, or how would you manage the deadlines, how would you make sure that the deadlines are met? Or because obviously when you're working in a company, you're not going to do just one task. There will be multiple tasks. Every day would be a learning day, and there will be time when ad hoc requests have to be met. So within that 8 hours, 9 hours, how would you make sure that all the tasks are completed, they are met, the deadlines are met, and everything is done? So this is where you have to frame your answer and talk about your personal work style. Another very common question asked is, where do you see yourself in 90 days, 3 years, 5 years, or any of that sort? Basically, what an interviewer is trying to know is your goals for the future. Is, do you plan to spend your time with this company, or this is just a short-term project? So make sure you have a very good answer with this, because no one wants to hire a candidate who just have a short-term plan and doesn't know where he's going, or what he wants to do with his life, or who just want to be with company just to get experience and switch it up. Like, no one is trying to, no one will hire the candidate. And it's common sense. Like, why would a company sponsor such candidate, or would spend so much resources on the candidate who is not even willing to stay with the company for long? So you have to be very mindful, when you're framing an answer. What you need to tell is your future plan, how you plan to move ahead from your current role, how you're going to expand your knowledge, how you're going to move ahead in the company, and try to frame your answer according to this. So be very mindful when answering this. Another most common question, that might be your first question, I should have like kept it in the first, but I had so many lists that it came down. So yeah, one of the most common question, and that might be your probably the first question the interviewer would ask you, is like, when you go for an interview, they would introduce themselves, they would introduce the company, and then they would ask you to introduce yourself. And oh my god, I can't even tell, I have seen in interviews personally that people speak about everything except the main point. So when an interview is asking you to introduce yourself, or walk me through your resume, they don't want to know what you did 2 years back. They don't want to know how you contributed to the society. They don't want to know you like traveling and all that. Oh my god, like, I have seen people making a mess out of the question. So avoid that. What they want to know is that before joining this firm, like, before coming for this interview, what you have professionally achieved in your previous companies, or how you have professionally managed your university, or what subjects you have learned, or what all knowledge do you have for this particular company. Like, for example, you're going for banks, and also what financial knowledge you have learned in university that you have opted for this job, that that motivated you to come here. And tell about your knowledge, tell about what all subjects you learned, instead of, so in college, I used to play badminton. I was this thing leader of this. I was like, I organized this college fest. Like, do not do that, do not make a mess out of this question. Like, I can't emphasize how many people I've seen personally messing up this question big time. So please avoid that. So be very well about the industry you're going for, and introduce yourself in a way that you're basically selling yourself to that industry. You basically want to get hired. So your introduction should be focused that this is me, I know about this industry, I'm so excited to learn about the products in the industry, and this is, that's such a good starting point of the interview. So make sure you, when you advertise yourself, or when you introduce yourself, that your focal point should be related to the particular position or particular company you're getting interviewed for. So don't, like, okay, if you're going for an event management company, then probably talking about I was a head of college fest, I organized this and this. That sounds fine. But if you're going for a hotel industry, or you're going for a finance job, or you're going for sales, and you talk about, so I was a head of college fest, that's kind of out of place. You know what I'm saying? So make sure your answers are well framed. So we spoke about the behavioral question, that's like the most common questions asked in almost every interview. Now we're going to talk about the technical questions. So people are normally kind of scared, or even when I was just stepping into corporate world, and I was very much nervous about what they're gonna ask about interview, and like, do I need to learn my whole 2 years of master syllabus, or do I like need to revise everything? Oh my god, I don't know this formula. Oh my god, I don't know that formula. I will mess it up. And the anxiety was real. And over the time, over throughout my professional experience, what I learned is the best way to deal with technical interview is, yeah, you be aware about what the company is dealing with. You understand what products they deal with. For example, if you go for accounting firm, they would talk about the financial statements of the company. And if you go for finance firms, they would talk about stocks, bonds, derivatives, and so on, or whatever the particular company is dealing with in the market. So make sure you at least have a theoretical knowledge of all those things. And it's not necessary to remember all the formula. What our interviewer is trying to know is that, do you know what exactly it is? Do you know the definition of it? And definition doesn't mean word to word. Do you understand what the thing is about? Do you understand the word financial product is used for? Do you understand its necessity in the market? So make sure, whatever firm you're going for, whatever industry you're going for, have the basis of the whatever the company is dealing with. Know the know what we say know the definitions of it. And and people are, normally they get scared. Okay, so is the company side the only place I need to know? Or because obviously, if you go to a company's website, what I have personally noted is that not everything is just there. Let's say if you're going for an oil company, the company wouldn't talk about all its departments, or the company wouldn't like tell about each and everything on their page. There are other sources you might want to refer. For example, news. So CNBC, Bloomberg, these are the financial news. So do well research, and then understand why the company is in headlines, and understand the news, because that you can say about what you know about the company. So make sure you are well aware of the products. Second thing, talk about its, like, read its competitors, why other companies are in competition, what products other companies do, because the similar products would be also sold by this particular company you're going for. Third, we are in a digital world, we are in the social media account world. So everyone has Instagram, everyone has Twitter. Follow the company's page, because the organizations are they want to have this good image, the goodwill of the company. That's why they keep advertising themselves, so they keep updating people on Instagram, on Twitter, about what next step the company has taken to contribute in the economy. So make sure you do the stalking work, and that's how you would be aware about the technical questions, or what questions you should prepare for the company. Well, this concludes the video. I hope you find it useful. These are the lists which I personally follow, which have always helped me. I hope you found it helpful as well. And if you did, make sure to hit the like button, share with your friends and family, make sure they get benefit for this thing, and ask them to subscribe to this channel as well. And I hope you did the same. So take care, and till next time, stay tuned.